Welcome to Arctic's 8-Bit Bytes. If you're into AV engineering, AV programming, and all things tech, you're in exactly the right place. And I decided to go on vacation this weekend, and I brought you guys along with me. So here we are, and thanks for joining this morning. I'm going to give the punchline for this entire video up front. And OSC stands for Open Sound Control. It's a modern Ethernet-based control protocol that was designed to replace MIDI. And here's the punchline. QSYS, Q-SYS, and other control systems are capable of sending OSC commands. And OSC can control all kinds of stuff. Now, I'm not sure how I missed this, and honestly, if I had seen it, I probably would not have even known what it was. But I was digging through QSYS, Q-SYS Designer under the Asset Manager where they have all the pre-made plugins, and I was blown away to find out that somebody released an OSC plugin last year. So, wait, hang on. Q-SYS can send OSC commands? That definitely got my interest. Do I have your interest yet? So here's how I stumbled onto this cool little Q-SYS and control system hack. Just recently, a sales guy walks into my office and starts going on and on about this command language that he had found. And apparently he was putting in a QSYS lighting console into a church, and the church didn't have the budget for an architectural lighting system. And by that, I mean it's panels that they put at the auditorium entrances that you can trigger lighting scenes throughout the week, like for maintenance and rehearsals. And then when you hit the weekend services, that system then transfers over to the lighting board at the tech booth. So he asked me if I'd ever heard of a control protocol called OSC. And I quickly answered, nope, I've never really heard of it. And then he asked me if it's something that I could integrate into a QSC, Q-SYS control processor. And I said, yikes, man, you're really reaching there. I don't even know if that's possible. I've never even heard of it. And then, I said, I'll look into it. So he gets quiet and he walks out of my office. And I do what I normally do. I go to my computer and I go to the Microsoft Copilot desktop app and ask the exact same question. Before we dive into OSC, if you're interested in AV and seeing more AV-related content, please click the subscribe button below. Subscribing helps the channel to grow, and it keeps me motivated in making more videos. So what is OSC? It's Open Sound Control. And OSC is a modern communications protocol that's designed for multimedia devices to talk back and forth. And things like synthesizers and computers and lighting consoles, media servers, and AV systems, control systems. It's pretty much a network-based, higher resolution alternative to MIDI. I don't know if you guys are familiar with MIDI or not. But Open Sound Control is actually more lighting than it is actually sound, even though the name suggests that it's more of a sound control thing with Open Sound Control. But it's actually a lot more lighting. So my next logical question to ask Copilot was, what AV devices support OSC? And I was shocked to find that the supported devices were way bigger than what I expected. So let's go through a couple lighting things. So there's like the QSYS lighting console, and the ETC EOS line of lighting consoles can be controlled by OSC. And another program that I absolutely love is a Mac-based lighting control program called LightKey. I don't know if you guys have heard of LightKey, but if you haven't tried it, you need to. And then I went on to find there are actually a couple soundboards. So you have the Midas M32, the Behringer X32. They can be remotely controlled or triggered. The other big thing, there's a free program out there called OBS, which is Open Broadcaster Source software. That software does audio-video recording to your hard drive. It does live streaming. It does video switching. And I personally use it all the time. It's a sweet little program, and it's free. And it can be triggered remotely from OSC. So that basically means that I can trigger streaming or recording on a computer from a QSYS Designer program. So one last huge thing is the Stream Deck. I don't know if you guys know what a Stream Deck is. A Stream Deck is a little button controller panel, and you can run a third-party program called Companion. And Companion basically makes a Stream Deck a little control system. And you can program in different functions on the buttons. Well, come to find out, there's an OSC plugin for companion, which means now I can have Q-SYS Designer or another control system trigger button presses programmed into the Stream Deck, which is absolutely crazy. So that means I could have Q-SYS Designer opening up pages on a computer. I could have it doing all kinds of stuff. So let's talk a little bit about the OSC control protocol itself and where did it come from? And what about its syntax? And towards the end of this video, I'd like to show you the QSC Q-SYS plugin. And we can also go through a couple of these device manuals because they have the OSC commands listed. So when did OSC come into play? Now, it was invented in 1997 at the Center for New Music and Audio Technologies at the University of California, Berkeley. The first formal version was released way back in 2002. It was created to overcome the limitations of MIDI, especially in terms of resolution, flexibility, and extensibility. It was designed to enable Ethernet communication between computers and sound synthesizers and multimedia devices, just like MIDI. OSC is typically transmitted over Ethernet by UDP packets instead of TCP/IP. And UDP apparently was chosen because of its low latency, and it doesn't have to have certain connections like TCP/IP. OSC can be sent as single commands or it can be sent as bundles of commands, so you can do sequencing and timing with it. And the commands are all text-based, but when they're sent, they actually take those text-based commands and convert them over to hexadecimal. So you pretty much need a program or like a QSC Q-SYS plugin to do those conversions. And that's where that QSC OSC plugin comes into play. They've already done all the hard work for us. You just put in the text command, it converts it to hex, and then it sends it to the Ethernet port that you need it to. And the last thing that you need to know is that there's a UDP receive port and then that there's a UDP transmit port. So you actually have to have two connections there in order for it to talk back and forth. So let's dive in and let's take a look at the QSC Q-SYS plugin. We're in a QSC Q-SYS Designer, and this plugin is available in the Asset Manager. I'm showing all the ins and outs, and under Commands Library, this is where I input all my commands. Setup is where I put the IP address of the device I want to talk to and the port number on the far right. And now under Properties, I'm going to show all the input and output pins. So it gives you all the ins and outs. And then the cool thing too is it allows me to set a scripting name. So that means that I can control this plugin from outside this plugin, like in a block controller or a Lua script. And here, view component control. So these are all the different commands that I'm allowed to interact with, either in Lua or block controller. It gives you all kinds of stuff. Built-in debounce if you need it. Okay, so now this is OBS, an open broadcaster software. And I'm showing the OSC plugin for OBS. And I just clicked on help, and then these are all the different commands that you can trigger all kinds of stuff within OBS. Start recording, stop recording, start streaming, stop streaming. And one thing you need to do is you go under WebSockets and you have to enable WebSockets, basically external control. And then we've got a password set on OBS, so we got to copy that password and we got to put it into the plugin. That way when the plugin, this OSC plugin tries to connect to OBS, it allows that connection. And then we're going to go into, see, it just popped up, remote session. And now we're going to go into Q-SYS Designer with the other OSC plugin and trigger stuff in OBS. So plugin to OBS. Okay, so on the right is Q-SYS Designer. And we're having to put in the 127.0.0.1, which basically it's all local to this machine, so it's a local address, not a different IP address. And then we're going to create a couple commands, and we just looked up those commands in the help file. So we're going to do a start record and a stop record. And you basically enter the commands here under Commands Library, and then you go over to Send, and then you select the command. Start recording, stop recording. And now we're going to trigger OBS from Q-SYS Designer. Hey, who's that? What a dork. Yep, we just started a recording from Q-SYS Designer, and it's in emulate mode. Start, stop. Awesome, sweet. There's all kinds of stuff you can trigger with it. All right, let's take a look at a couple of the device manuals, and let's see how the OSC commands are listed in those manuals. Hey, let's take a look at a couple of manuals. This is a QSYS lighting board, and see how it has open sound control listed. And we can go to that page and it actually lists some of the trigger commands that you can trigger lighting scenes and all kinds of cool stuff. Yeah, commands look similar to what we just looked at in OVS. This is a soundboard, a Behringer X32. It's an unofficial guide, but it lists all kinds of stuff that you can trigger, mutes and faders and scene recalls, and I'm just kind of scrolling through. I mean, the whole, I don't know, yeah, it's 175 pages of commands. Pretty crazy. Cool stuff. Okay, this is LightKey software. This is the Mac lighting software. And it has OSC and commands and preset recalls and everything you can think of. I'm not going to show commands. We're just going to go to the page that talks about connecting to it, but this manual lists all the commands. All right, thanks for watching Arctic's 8-Bit Bytes. I'm pleased to be your Internet AV engineering and programming resource. If you enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe for more AV-related content. And hey, thanks for joining me on vacation.